Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is the Ramsey Show. It's where we help you win in your life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague George Campbell. We're here for you this hour. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. We've been called the root beer float of the Ramsey Show. A lot of duets with the Ramsey personalities and Dave. A lot of every day brings a different duet, as I like to say.
I like that.
So hope you like the root beer float.
Well, the explanation is 2 ingredients. This is from a fan review. They said 2 ingredients that are great on their own, but when brought together are magic.
Yeah, I didn't want to go so far as to that big of a compliment of ourselves, but whatever.
I said it's from a fan. I don't agree, but
whatever you
kind.
think the beverage we are today, but we are here together, and always enjoy being with George. We have a lot of fun. And so let me set the tone here. Of course, we're going to take your money questions. George is ready to go. He's got his bomber jacket on.
I got my pen,
He brushed his teeth
notepad.
just moments ago back in the bathroom. I ran into him. He's freshly brushed and flossed. And George can answer your money questions. And I'll weigh in, but I'm here to answer any work questions. And when we talk about money, George, you got to think about work. Your income is your greatest wealth building tool. How can you make more money? How can you enjoy work? If you're feeling stuck, but I'm in the baby steps, can I move? Can I pivot? The answer is yes. I'll take any work-related questions. Maybe you're dealing with a toxic boss or coworker, and you just, hey, you know what? I just need to be encouraged. Ken, I need to stay the course. We'll take some of those questions. And so we're ready to go. We've told you what to expect, and let's do it. Terry is up first in Tampa, Florida. Terry, how can we help? Well, let me hit the button.
That helps to get Terry on the line.
Well,
is it
I'm
not
trying
working?
to hit line 2, but I've done
trust
something
that Ken
wrong.
knows how to hit a button, so I think we have
It's
some
all
technical
good.
difficulties.
Just a technical difficulty.
There we
There
go.
you are, Terry. I'm sorry. You're welcome here on the Ramsey Show. What's going on?
I was calling because I was wondering if it is a good time to buy a house as a woman in her early 20s.
Now, what does a woman have to do with this, or a woman in her 20s for that matter?
That's
Good
true.
question.
So the real question is it a good time to buy a house? And that time has nothing to do with necessarily the time in which we live, but what, George?
Your financial situation.
Boom.
So talk to us about that. What makes you think you are ready or are not ready?
Well, I think I'm ready because I finished paying off my $30,000 in student loans.
Awesome.
And I have a bit of money saved for my future family, all of that. When I say good time, I don't mean due to the market or anything like that. Just as we all know, your 20s can kind of be a little bit of a roller coaster, and we don't know what's to come in a few years. So financially, I believe I could buy a house. I just don't know if it's a good time for me.
Okay. So you have no debt now. Do you have an emergency fund of 3 to 6
do.
months of expenses?
Yes.
And then beyond that, do you have a down payment saved?
Yes.
How much do you have saved for the down payment?
I have $45,000.
Amazing.
Wow.
And what's your income?
About 130 to 150,000. It's commission based, so it varies.
Wow,
You are
Terry.
incredible.
What do you do?
Real estate.
Wow.
Way to go, Terry.
And you're renting right now?
I'm living rent-free. I've been saving at my parents' house.
Incredible. You've been doing all the right things, and I'm so proud of you. Most people that call and they go like, I'm going to buy a house, they're flat broke, and you are the opposite of that.
George,
And
what time is it?
is it game time? Is that where you're going with this?
I want to know what time it is, George.
It may be time to buy a house, Terry.
I think it might be.
Now, you're in Tampa. I don't know what the housing situation is there, but you're in real estate, so you can easily run the comps, and I'll tell you how to do it the right way so that you step into this thing with some peace and wisdom, and that is to stick to a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage, which is insane in the real estate world, I know, but it's going to allow you to pay off your mortgage in 15 years or less and allow you to still have money left over to live your life and invest and do all of those things for your future. So if you get a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage where the mortgage payment is no more than a quarter of your after-tax income, so after taxes but before your deductibles, insurance, investing, you name it, let that be 25%. And if you do it that way, that might mean, you have a great income. What's your take-home pay now? 10 grand or more?
Take-home pay, about
Great. So then we go, okay, with a $45,000 down payment, and we want to keep the mortgage payment at around $2,500, how much house can we buy? And let your budget dictate your home price versus what you feel and what you want. And that helps you step into this thing with a lot of peace and wisdom. And then you can start shopping.
That sounds awesome. Good plan.
Terry, you are awesome, and this is exciting. So again, George, you feel good about that, don't
I feel
you?
really good because it has nothing to do with her being a woman or her being in her 20s. There's men in their 60s who aren't ready to buy a house. There's women in their 20s who are absolutely ready. So
I love it.
Well
All right,
done.
next, let's go to Trey in Sacramento. Trey, how can we help?
I'm doing good. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's up? We got about 2 minutes here, so get to the point, and we'll try to help you out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no problem. So my side hustle has actually taken off quicker than I thought, and I'm trying to figure out when the appropriate time would be to get away from my standard job and move full-time into the entrepreneurial life.
Right. What is the side business?
Digital marketing.
Nice. And what do you do for a full-time job, and how much do you make?
Pretty much the same thing, and I make about $25,000 a month.
Okay.
A month.
Wow. Way to go, Trey. Let's slow clap for Trey today. And $25,000 a month, that's a pretty good number. So here's the short answer. For me, and I want George to weigh in on this as well if he has a different formula, the answer to that question, when should you walk from the day job to the side hustle, is when you are making close to, if not the exact same amount you're making now in your day job, and you have a minimum, this is me, a minimum of 6 months of your income in the side hustle bank account that is set aside to pay you. That would be the time. That's when we go, all right, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
George?
Are you there yet? What are you making with the side hustle versus the full-time job?
So this month I'll do about $24,000.
Oh,
Wow, he's right there.
You're right there.
And you're doing that part-time.
Doing it part-time right now, hopefully can go full-time at the end of the year. I should be able to build up that 6 months like you can just
Well,
talked
making
about.
this much money, it's not like you have $24,000 in expenses.
No.
So you have an astronomical income compared to your expenses. Do you have any debt?
No debt besides the house.
How much do you have in the side hustle bank account?
About 50 right now.
Yeah. So so you're getting there. I like having 6 months in there. And by the way, 6 months that you hopefully don't touch, because you're at the point now where you're already bringing in as much as you're making now. You have very little personal expenses. So I would say you're within a couple months of making this happen. I like your timeline.
With his caliber, I'm like, he could leave today and go do it. I think he's going to be fine, but there's going to be that cushion there. If he waits a few more months, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
He's going to have an astronomical career ahead of him as an entrepreneur.
Can we talk about Terry and Trey?
blowing my mind.
Super callers.
Is this going to be a weird show of unicorns?
I don't know, but I am impressed.
They need to be behind this desk,
TNT.
crushing it.
They're tearing it up. I love it. Don't go anywhere. He's George Campbell. I'm Ken Coleman, and this is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, where we help you win with your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel, and we are here for you this hour. The phone number to jump in is toll free. It is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225, and callers are standing by. We'll get to them, but first, George, you've got an article in your hands, and I've talked a lot about this on the Ken Coleman Show because we're helping people win at work. And college grads have got a overinflated view of what they could make and should make. Is that a fair way of saying that?
That's a very fair way.
And you got some more data on your hands.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. As hiring demands increase, this is from CNBC.com, the average starting salary for the class of 2022 is projected to be more than $50,000. Okay, checks out. However, current college students expect to earn twice that, $103,880 in their first job, according to one report.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
It is a problem. It's not realistic. The market's not there. The question is, and I've not seen any of these articles that offer an opinion as to why. I think I have an opinion, but what say you?
I interviewed a bunch of high schoolers, and when I talked to them, they all were like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna make six figures when I graduate." And I was like, "What makes you think that?"
Right.
There's no reality. It's just kind of this wet finger in the air, and I think I deserve. And the way things are going with the economy, you need to make 100,000. So I'm just gonna go make 100,000.
Yeah. And so here's what's dangerous about this. And if you are one of these young people and you're listening and watch this, listen, we're not bashing you right now. I don't want you to hear, here's Ken and George, the old cranky guys like the Muppets, those two Muppet guys that sat in the top,
The balcony.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
But here's the deal. Here's why I want you to really do your homework on what the jobs are offering, what you're going to look at. And George just gave you the number. Because when you have unrealistic expectations, George, you are going to have unmet expectations.
Ooh.
And so that starts you off right out of the gate with a certain amount of resentment.
Yeah, and cynicism.
And frustration and everything that comes with that. And so this is interesting. So the number is they're expected to start at, you said it was 55?
Well, they're expected to start at just over 50.
Oh, just over 50,000. Okay.
But their expectations are that they're going to make 103 plus.
Yeah.
And it says 10 years into the careers, students anticipate making more than $200,000.
Yeah, well.
So they are way overestimating their starting salaries, one report says, by 88%. And so they need to understand, what degree am I after? What are the jobs on the other side of that degree? And what do those jobs pay in my area with my experience?
All right, so now
are those the steps to take?
Yeah, I agree. And so we want to know, okay, what does it look like? They've got to know the industry. And then more importantly, young people, listen, go hang out with women and men who are winning in your industry. And then say, hey, if I'm going to make, or if I want to make $200,000 in 10 years, what would need to be true? Like, let's just get some real coffee and some real knowledge, so that you have an idea of what you need to expect. Now, I want to flip this for a second. In my hands here, I've got an article. I like that. I bring my own sound effects. And this is an op-ed on Fox News, but listen to this. The world is changing as it relates to college degree and professional success. Now, George, you know this. I talk about this all the time ad nauseum next to your desk.
And it makes me nauseous.
Yeah, it does. I talk about it too much. I'm very passionate about it. But the leveling of the playing field is here, and it's good for people who don't have a degree. Now, there are people that are listening and watching to us right now that they feel stuck because they don't want to go get another degree because either they want to pivot and they feel like they need that qualification, or they don't want to stay in the same field that they're in with the degree they have, and they think, oh, I need a degree. Maybe not. But here's how it's changing. The headline here is, employers are wising up. Between 2007 and 2019, George, the share of job postings requiring a 4-year degree rose more than 60%.
Wow.
They called it degree inflation. So it was a little bit of a monkey see, monkey do. Everybody's doing it. We don't want to be the ones that aren't doing it. And we feel like, well, we're going to get the riffraff. We filter the riffraff out because if you don't have a degree, you're not as good as somebody else. And I'm being honest. I'm not trying to play on some populism here.
Well, it's kind of like the credit score. It's just an easy way to go, we're too lazy to look into their finances. The credit score tells us. It's a
great
box
call,
we're going to check.
George. Great call. So that the degree and the credit score have become somewhat of the same thing. It's a measuring tool, but does it actually matter? We know it doesn't. You bought a house without a credit score.
That's right.
And we teach this all the time. All right, so real quick, though, here's what's interesting. In 1990, this is the same time that we begin to see a real difference in prime age workers who are earning between $60,000 and $80,000 a year. All right, so 38% earning between $60,000 and $80,000 per year a year had a bachelor's degree. Okay, today the proportion is 52%. So it's about degree. But listen to this: 4 in 10 recent college grads work in jobs that have not traditionally required a college degree. And in that case, the college graduates in non-college degree requirement jobs are earning more than $10,000 less. In other words, the way they write that's confusing.
Sure.
If you have a college degree, you're making over $10,000 less than your compadres who have no degree.
Wow.
So all that to say, 2 questions that I teach for our new audience members. If you've never heard me say this before, there's 2 questions you can ask. Is a degree the only way to get the job I want, or is it the best way? Now, you got to dig, but the research is readily available, George. It's not a mystery.
No.
And if the answer is
They're
no
great
to
questions.
either one, here's the great news. There's more and more jobs coming online. You have state governments. I didn't mention this. 11 states now have removed college degree requirements for you to get a job in their executive branch. 11 governors said, we're changing it. So I just think this is a trend
It's
that
a
is
great
not
shift.
stopping.
I'm very happy about this shift. And the truth is, anecdotally, as we take calls on the show, the folks that have degrees, they call in and they go, I'm making 40 grand and I'm 100,000 in debt.
Yep.
The folks that don't have degrees, they call in and they go, well, I'm 19 and I make 80 grand as a welder and I have no debt.
That's right.
And I go, who would you rather be?
Yeah.
And guess who's not desperate for the raise and not struggling and anxious in their job?
Yeah.
The guy who has no debt, who's making 80 grand with no college degree.
Yeah.
So I'm just tired of this system that's pushed all of these kids through to focus on a degree without thinking about what's on the other side.
Well, let's not forget that we pushed them into this. They were told it was the right way to do it. And then they come out of school and the debt payments are killing them. They don't feel like they're ever going to climb out of the hole of the student loan. And then a politician comes along. And they promise that we're going to wipe away $20,000 worth of your loan. And they hold on tight for years. And then you find out that some judges wearing black robes said, nope, can't do it. And they're left holding the bag. And that stinks. And so look out at the future. Look at the now and go, wait a second. Do I need a degree? And if we look at the technology field alone, George, just the technology field, there are so many what I would call technology trade schools. Bethel Tech, betheltech.net. Tell them I sent you. I endorse them. They have a 9-month program. Less than $15,000, George. Wow. And they're starting at $75,000. Some are making $100,000 coming out. It's a trade school.
And it's less than a quarter of the time, which means you have income coming in
You cash
9
flow
months
your way
later,
through.
potentially.
That's right. Then let's look at the trades. As you mentioned, welders, electricians, plumbers, carpenters. The field is wide open. They are desperate for people who can come in and work. And you and I were at a conference recently where Malcolm Gladwell on the stage at our Entree Leadership Summit said that he was talking to a well-known professor at an Ivy League school. And he said, what would you tell your kids about their future, his young kids? He said, I'd tell them to get into trades.
That's powerful.
This is an Ivy Leaguer, an elitist. And if you will, for people like to make fun of. The point is
he's even saying the value's not there.
Yeah. And so all that to say, we have this conversation because, George, so many people make bad financial decisions under the guise of, well, I had to do it.
Well, we've let the degree dictate what job happens versus letting the job dictate whether or not we even need a degree.
There it is.
We've got to make that change. And if you want to learn more about this, we explore it in our documentary called Borrowed Future. It's completely free on YouTube. There's also a podcast series I hosted around the same topic, and it will open your eyes. Watch it with your kids and start the conversation now.
Also, we have a great resource at our website, RamseySolutions.com, called Debt Free Degree. It's a great book, easy read. You can go to college without the debt, and we want you to. All right. More of your calls. People are lining up. Don't move. Quick break. Right back with more of The Ramsey Show.
Well, you've all played the telephone game. The first person whispers a message to the second person, who whispers it to the third, and so on around the table until the original message has completely changed. Multiply that confusion by 100 if you run a business with different software systems that don't talk to each other. That's why there's NetSuite by Oracle. In the early days of Ramsey, we were using different systems for all of our business units. We needed one single source for accurate data. NetSuite was the software we used to optimize and take us to the next level. NetSuite gave us the visibility into all of our numbers so that we could communicate across departments and plan ahead better. And as we grew, it scaled with us. NetSuite worked for Ramsey, and it will make a difference for your business too. Join the more than 34,000 customers who trust NetSuite to help make them smarter and make better decisions and level up their operations. To learn more, get a free product tour at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague George Camel. We're here for you this hour, taking your questions about money. How about work-related issues that have some tie to money and relationship issues around all of that? George and I are here for you. 888-825-5225. Let's stay right here in our backyard, Nashville, Tennessee. Jessica is there. Jessica, how can we help?
Hi, guys. So excited to be talking to you. So I'm toying with my next career steps, and I'm considering possibly going back to school, and I'm not sure where in my budget that saving would go or come from.
Okay.
I just need some help.
What are you doing now, and what do you want to be doing?
I'm currently a corporate field trainer for Crumble Cookies, and I'm considering going back to school for accounting because I have a little bit of a passion for finance I've started to discover.
Well, before you do that, if George and I give you good advice, we'd love for you to drop off a box here at the office. That would be great. I love the Crumble Cookies.
I bet I can make that happen.
Oh, I'm terrible. That's terrible, but I couldn't help myself. All right, so you're absolutely certain that accounting is the direction, but what's that look like long term for you? If you imagine kind of climbing the ladder, do you want to go higher than an accounting role?
So I'm not absolutely certain. I'm just considering it. And before I do anything, I just want to make sure that I have the money to do it because I don't want to take out student loans. I've never been in debt, and I refuse to be in debt.
All right, so before we go that step, though, I want to make sure that accounting is the path. So before we even talk about the money, and I love that you're calling us, okay? I love that. But the step before we get the money saved up is, do I really want to go into accounting? You know, do I want to be a financial analyst? Do I want to be a CPA? And I really want you to practice what I call the proximity principle. In fact, I'm going to give you my book. It was a #1 bestseller. And it's called the proximity principle. And it basically says this: in order to do what Jessica wants to do, she's got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. And this is if we decide to do it, but you can begin to use the proximity principle to get around people that are in that field. This is coffees, this is lunches, breakfasts. Hey, I want to hang out with you and I want to learn more about what you do, the ins, the outs, the good, the bad, the ugly. What was the right path for you? And we want to determine, do I need a degree? After we determine, is this something I actually want to do? And so if you figure out, is this something I really want to do? Because I've talked to people and I've essentially done a term paper and my heart has said, yes, this is absolutely what I want to do after talking to people, observing them, shadowing them, whatever that looks like. And then we go, okay, do I need a degree for that to go that path? You might need a certification, you might need the degree. But if you do all of that and you go, I absolutely know that I want to go that direction, and now we know we need the degree, then we say, all right, now I'm going to cash flow it.
Okay.
Make sense?
Are you there? Do you feel like that's definitely the path?
No, it makes sense. And I am there. I have a couple of friends who are accountants, and I've been talking to them and slowly researching it, but I definitely need to amp it up.
Yeah.
Good. So what have they said about the education path? Are you going to have to get a bachelor's to do this the way you want to do it?
The people that I've been talking to, they actually are, you can get a bachelor's, but they have their master's. And from what they've said, their master's has actually given them quite an income increase. But where I would start with community, like a local community college.
Good.
And start with associates before I went any further.
Ask some of those folks if there is a precedent or a practice where companies see potential in someone like you and they pay for your master's degree if you stay with them. I would look into that.
Yeah, that's a great question.
So what's it going to cost at the community college?
From looking at it, I think it was about $4,000 a year.
Okay, and how much money do you have right now? You said you have no debt. How much do you have in the bank?
So in the bank, I have $38,655.
Wow, that's amazing. So you could pay for this thing today without even touching your emergency fund.
Well, my emergency fund is in the bank, but it's in a high yield savings.
Yes, but I'm saying as far as your cash, your liquid cash goes, you could pay for this thing today with no problem. Because you were asking about how do I budget for this. You kind of already have.
Yes. So that's kind of what I've been trying to figure out is like where in my numbers does that come from outside of my 6 months expenses? Because I have that. I'm not going to touch that unless there's an emergency. And then I have savings, and I'm using my savings to fund my Roth. And I have more than enough to max it out for this year and starting into next.
Great.
And then I have an investment fund, like an investment line item that I'm using to fund a brokerage account that's going into mutual funds.
Okay. So those are all great things. I would just, if you filter this through the baby steps, you've got the emergency fund, let's invest 15%. Anything beyond that, let's use to throw at this next goal of getting the degree. So that might mean pausing the investment in the brokerage account. You may be over 15%. Do you have an employer retirement plan?
Yeah, technically total I'm 20% because I do 15% of my own, like in my budget, and then and that funds my like personal Roth, and then I do 5% because my company does a 5% match, so I do 5% match to my company's Roth 401k.
Cool. Jessica's just an overachiever. You're crushing it. So I would just dial that back down to 15%. Let's get school paid for. Let's get through this program. Are you a homeowner, or is that a goal for you?
No, it is a goal for me in the next, I'd like 5 years or less.
Cool. I would get through school. Let's get this accounting job. And once we're there, you're probably going to have a pile of money, knowing you. And so you'll be there in no time. And it sounds like you're doing everything the right way. You're wanting to go slow, do community college, then see what you need. Don't just get more degrees to get them, like Ken mentioned, and see if these companies will pay for it. Maybe they'll start you out with a bachelor's and you'll work your way up through that.
Yeah, I love that, and you are on your way. So, Jessica, very impressive. You're going to do great things. I absolutely love hearing from a young person who's looking at it the right way.
This whole hour has just been like rock stars.
Yeah, so
very
fantastic.
Impressive.
Let's go to Jose in San Diego, California. Jose, how can we help?
How are you guys doing today? It's an honor to talk to both of you.
Well, it's our honor, sir. What's going on?
Well, I'm at a crossroad in my life. I'm 52 years old. My wife is 46. And as of May 1st, we are on baby step 7.
Wow. So, look at you, Jose.
Yeah, so my question is that it's kind of still surreal 2 months later, not having a home payment is surreal. And sometimes I feel like I'm confused. But one of the things that I need some direction is life insurance. I still pay on both of us. I just did it for this whole next term. So I have a term till I'm 62 of $500,000, and my wife, like I said, is 46 years old, and I have her through age 60 of $300,000. And I'm just wondering, should I continue to do that?
Where are you guys at as far as your net worth?
The last time I checked, which was around a month ago, it was 1.7.
Awesome.
Another milestone that I just hit was all my retirement accounts and accounts that I have in possession in banks and all that it just passed 1 million. So that's where I'm at right now.
That is incredible. I'm so proud of you. Well, if you have term life policies?
Yes, both.
Okay. So these are pretty affordable, I imagine.
Yes, between both of us per year, it's a little under 1,000.
I would just keep them and until they expire and run them out until 62 and 60. That gives you guys another, 10 years and 14 years, and that'll give you some peace of mind. I mean, $1.7 million is great, but again, if you've got the house and the retirement accounts, you could survive, right? If something happened to you, God forbid, your wife's going to be okay. No house payment, a lot of money in these retirement accounts that she would inherit, she would be fine.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I just heard sometimes Dave talking about self-insured, so I just crossed that road. So yeah. I needed some.
You're probably there. I just don't think there's enough. There's not enough going on where I go, the $1,000 gives me some more peace of mind for the next decade. We've already got the plans in place. We're paying for it. We locked in the rate. Let's just keep it going. And by that time, you're going to be multi-millionaires and have plenty of money to be self-insured. You're doing all the right stuff, man. I'm so proud of you guys.
Well, George, I got to tell you, the callers we've had in this first hour.
It's a weird hour.
Are high achievers. This is unbelievable.
These are all great problems to have.
The future is very, very bright. You all are doing some great stuff. But hey, if you don't feel like you're where they are, you can get where they are. We're here to help. Don't move. More Ramsey Show coming up. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, where we help you win in your life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. A lot of new people joining us all the time. And if you're new to the program, we've got a get started button for you, because you hear some terminology like baby steps and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 all the way up to baby step 7, and you hear a lot of different things, gazelle intensity and things of that nature. And if you're new, we don't want you to feel like you're trying to figure out all of the vernacular. We want you to get an idea where you are in the journey so that the conversations you hear on the show begin to make sense. You can do that by going to RamseySolutions.com and click on Get Started. That's RamseySolutions.com. Get Started, and we'll get you caught up and get you plugged in right away. Connery is up next in Salt Lake City. How can we help?
Hey, guys. It's wonderful to talk to you today.
Good to talk to you.
So my question today is, should I keep working at my company just for a scholarship?
Scholarship to what?
Okay, scholarship to undergrad university program. A little bit of context here. I just graduated with my bachelor's in chemistry, and I'm working at an internship in retail, essentially, is what I'm doing. And my wife just got accepted to a nursing program, and the scholarship that is awarded is a full scholarship to cover her tuition, and this is dependent on FAFSA. So right now, the scholarship is good for 1 year, and then the other contingency is I have to continue working for the company for you could say a lower wage, sub $40,000 a year, in order to get her through school without going further into debt. Should I stay in the position or switch over to the retail side of the company and work for a lower wage, or should I leave and work for a company making that $50,000+ a year that you guys are talking about?
What would it cost if you paid for the schooling?
Total value of the schooling, it's about $3,500 per semester. So $7,000 times 4 or times 2, we're looking at about $15,000 out the door.
Okay.
Well, let me ask another question. If this nursing scholarship wasn't even on the table with your company, would you even be calling us about this question?
No.
Of course not. So that's why I always ask that question. I want to know where your head is. And I think for $14,000, I would take the better job with better possibilities, and I'd work a second job and she could work a second job or what, you know what I mean? I was just $14,000 in today's economy. I think the two of you putting your heads together could come up with the $14,000 a lot quicker than you probably realize, and you're going to be much happier in the better job.
Got it.
So long-winded answer of saying, no, I would not stay in the lower paying job just for the scholarship for your wife.
If you can go make 60 instead of 38, you're going to just go pay for that scholarship on your own anyways and feel more fulfilled instead of held back. And so I don't like these situations where you're purposefully limiting your income in order to have a little, gain on the other side. It's generally not worth it. And in this case, it doesn't sound like it based on the numbers. If it was a $100,000 scholarship, we may have a different conversation here.
Now, Connor, I thought I heard you starting to say but a second ago.
Oh, no, I just wanted to understand. No, that's awesome. That was the question. That was what was keeping me up at night. Is the $14,000 enough to keep me at a lower wage, or should I figure it out another way? Should I keep networking and using the other principles?
Now, if you just go find that $60,000 job, it will kind of solve itself, right? If you go find a higher paying job, this kind of thing goes away.
Okay.
And you'll get creative and go, all right, we're going to figure out how to pay for this ourselves now.
Yep. You guys got this. I mean, this is great. So I love it, love it, love it. Let's go to Jamie in Toronto, Canada. Jamie, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
You bet. What's up?
I'm wondering if I should sell my house to pay off debt.
What's causing you to go to that kind of conclusion? How much debt do you guys have?
We have $350,000 in bank loans and $170,000 to family.
Whoa. You mean bank loans? Are you talking about mortgage, or is this personal loans? Or
No, lines of credit.
Oh, wow. This is all consumer.
Kind of, yeah. It's consumer debt.
Where did all this money go towards?
Well, my wife has been in a surgical residency for the last 5 years. And so was quite costly, and as a result, have not really been working as much to take care of our children to get her through her residency.
Wow! So you guys have just been living on debt to survive while she's in school.
Basically, yeah. Basically, wow. I'm a chiropractor myself, and she's a just newly graduated surgeon. I had a practice going in a different city. I had practice going in a different city and was doing great there. She got into her residency, so I had to shut down my practice 7 years ago, moved to a new city, started to build momentum in a new practice, and then we had our first child and our second child, and all the while she's putting in 80-hour weeks and getting through her surgical residency.
Wow. So why shut down your career versus, hey, we're going to get daycare so we can keep some income going?
It just didn't sit right with me to put my kids in daycare. They do some daycare, but the amount of hours that I'm able to put in, like I'm working. I'm not working, but it's incredibly limited and zero focus. If I'm being honest with you guys, I'm basically on cruise control until now. So this is why this decision has come up. I just told myself, I'm going to coast until she finishes her residency and I can finally buckle down. And
you're going to go back and build your practice.
Yes, exactly.
How old are the kids?
3 and 4.
So now all of a sudden you're fine with them being in daycare because she's going to be busy and now you're busy. So now you're fine with it.
No, it's actually the situation's changed. So she now has a job. She's found a full-time job back in my hometown. And so we'll have all the help we need with family. My old practice is still there, and my partner's begging me to come back.
Oh, wow. Now that changes the question, George.
So what's the income today, and what do you think it will be?
Today it's, oh my God, close to nothing. I make like $1,000 a week. I put $1,000 a week in my pocket when it's all said and done. And she doesn't earn much right now because she's on a residence salary, or just, was. And
how are you guys paying the bills?
Debt, man. Debt.
So you're just compounding the debt problem.
What will it be? Let's go back to hometown. You're in there with your partner. She's got the new job. What do you anticipate that income being?
I used to do about 30 a month. I don't know. I don't anticipate that off, day one, but I used to do 30 a month. And I think she'll do closer to 40 or 50 a month. So that kind of allows us to breathe a little easy.
Is the house back there?
No, the house is here in Ottawa, but I have a building in Sudbury in this other town. It just came up. One of my tenants just gave notice for vacancy, so I'm thinking of moving into the building.
All right, we got about a minute left, so I want to give it to George here on what he thinks you need to do.
Yeah, what's left on the mortgage, and what's the house worth?
$150 left, $650 it's worth.
Oh man!
So you could walk away with what? Do you think after fees?
$500.
Okay.
I'd sell it today,
and you could clear almost all of the debt.
But I could clear it all.
I mean, you said you had $350 and $170.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Not all, but the other stuff I'm not worried about because I've got time on that.
I think it's time to be worried. I think what got us here was just going, well, I'm not worried about it. We'll figure it out. And then compounding debt. And I feel the weight of this, and I'm not even a part of the situation. So I would absolutely, I would sell this house, and you might be able to, in a better world, clear this debt quickly with $80,000 a month coming in. But right now, the reality is the house is on fire and you are going into debt every single week to keep this afloat. So I would sell it ASAP, clean this mess up, and get income back in your life no matter what it takes.
Yeah. And this is never an option, ever again.
Oof.
My goodness. I'm glad they've got a way out. And so that's good news. Wow. Hey, great hour, George Campbell. I want to thank Kelly Daniel sitting in today for James Childs and the team behind the glass for keeping us on the air. I want to thank you, America, for listening. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Ken. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where we help you win in your life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Campbell. We are here for you this hour, 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. George is our money expert. He's in the saddle ready to go. I'll help you with work-related issues. You're dealing with a toxic boss or coworker situation. Maybe you just feel stuck. You don't hate your job, but you know there's more. Should I quit my job? Is a question we get a lot on the Ken Coleman Show. We'll take those questions together because your work and your money are inextricably tied together. So let's go. You ready to go, my friend?
I'm ready.
George has got the bomber jacket on. If you're listening to us via your favorite podcast app or radio station, you can't see him, but he's just all dolled up.
We need to start doing a little clothing segment, Ken.
Yeah, well, our video audience on YouTube can see it.
They appreciate it.
But he's got a great bomber's jacket on. He's very, very, very sharp looking today.
Thank you.
And we've been told we are the of the Ramsey personality duets. We are the root beer float.
Wow.
And
I'd love to know all of the duets. We need to name them all. Let's have the audience do that for us.
Yeah, pick your duet and come up with
I feel like John Deloney is kind of like a Mountain Dew. It's like a Code Red situation.
Yeah, it's some type of energy drink that's unhealthy.
Nobody should be consuming it.
Yeah, not at all.
But we love him.
We love him. Let's go to Josh in Greensboro, North Carolina. Josh, how can we help?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. My question is, should I pay $5,000 to get my Class A commercial driver's license or pay off my $15,000 in debt first?
Okay, so before we get to the debt thing, I want to jump in here. Is this a long-term play for you to get your license and drive a truck? Is that something you want to do?
Yes.
All right. And how quickly would you start driving, and then how much more money would you be making than you are now?
The class would take about 10 weeks to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd probably be making at least $10,000 more a year.
Okay. So that would help.
Yes.
All right. George, I just wanted to know that because I think that plays into this. I don't think this is an either or right at the outset. That would be my take, but I want George to dive into this. I think this is a both and.
So how much money do you have right now?
Probably about $1,000.
Okay, so we're kind of at this baby step one, getting started, and you've got $15,000 in debt. What kind of debt is that?
About $10,000 in student loans and $5,000 in credit card.
Credit cards, okay. And what are you making a month?
Roughly $3,000.
Could you do extra work, overtime, side jobs, side hustles?
Yes.
Okay. Because my question is, how quickly could we pay off this debt and then get that $5,000 license covered as well? Could you do all of that within a year?
Yes.
Okay. I'm leaning towards that because I think if you kind of put the cart before the horse, it may actually slow you down while this interest accumulates. Because that credit card interest is a killer, man. It's probably over 20%.
Yes.
So that tells me we've got to start knocking away some of this debt to clear the room to cover this license and do it with some peace. And if you can, I think you can do that quickly because this is a big goal for you to get this license, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Which means you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And if that means you're working 60, 70-hour weeks, you're okay with that. You're not scared of work.
No, I'm not.
So I would set an aggressive goal for how quickly we can pay off this $15,000 because that's going to free up those payments. What are your monthly payments on that debt?
Credit card in total is probably about $250 for minimum, and then the student loans, I haven't really looked into that quite yet.
Okay. Well, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month that would be freed up that would allow you to then save up real quick for this license. And you can cash flow that at that point.
Yes.
How much of the $15,000 in debt is credit card versus student loans?
$5,000 in credit card and $10,000 in student loan, roughly.
Well, how quickly do you think you could pay this off, the 15, if you really get after it? How much? What do you think? What do you think you can earn in Greensboro, knowing what you can do?
Probably 6 to 9 months.
Okay. And then 3 months after that, you could probably scrape together the $5,000 to cash flow this license.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I got to throw something here, Joe. I don't mind you correcting
Toss it out there. I don't know. This is a choose your own adventure.
Okay. Well, I mean, we understand the principles. Because he's going to make more money being a truck driver and he's doing what he wants to do. It gets him in there. Could you meet me in the middle, George?
I'll meet you in the middle.
Could he pay off the $5,000 in credit card? Because that's the high interest. And that's going to free up $250 a month. And then he
gets the license, gets the
But
increase.
I want him doing both. I want him working the snowball. So here's my theory, or here's my question, George. He holds off on the CDL until he pays off the credit card debt. It's about $5,000. All right. He takes that $250 that he's been doing, and he puts that towards the student loan. So he keeps doing the snowball. But I want him also working the extra hours to come up with the $5,000 for the CDL license.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I wouldn't lose sleep over it. That's for sure.
But it's not your favorite thing.
It wouldn't be the way I'm wired, I go, how do I do both and do it in a shorter time frame to go, hey, how do I do this in 6 months to clean this up and cash flow this? And then I'm willing to do what it takes knowing the gap.
Yeah.
That's me personally.
I get it.
But I think Josh, he's not scared of work. I think if he started working 70 hours a week for a short season, he's going to be able to clean all of this up and get the license. Is this an instant pay raise, Josh?
Yes, it would be.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's a good deal.
So I'm looking at, then I take the pay raise and I put all of that
Which
towards
is
the
going to be
student loan.
$700 a month.
Yeah, he said it was about 10,000 more. Is that what you said, Josh? A year?
Yes, at minimum, it could be $10,000 to $20,000 more.
Well, either way, get after it. You know, the opportunity is going to be there. I like George's route too.
What we're talking about is $20,000 we need to come up with.
That's exactly right. $20,000 gets you where you want to be in your life. You know what I'm saying, Josh?
Yes.
Yeah. You ready to do it? Are you like ready? Like you're sick of this? You're done? I'm getting out of this. I'm moving forward in my life?
Yes.
Well, get after it, my friend.
He sounded confident. I feel good about it.
You know what he sounds like? He sounds convicted. He's like...
That's beyond confident.
He's like, yes. Yes.
Well, that's why I asked him, is this what you really want? Are you really willing to do what it takes? Because some people go, I don't want it that badly. I'm not willing to do like the third job.
Right.
I don't want it that badly.
Right.
He's saying this is worth it. Yeah. This is where I want to go, and I'm willing to do what it takes.
And I like your approach because what that does is it makes him even more motivated to get inside that truck cab. I get it.
The carrot is dangling.
And I want to stipulate And that's why I left myself open for some criticism here. I believe the baby steps all the way through. I'm just saying, in this situation, if I can do both, if I can keep going on the baby steps, but also fund an increase in income, I'm going to try to do that if I can. But I like your plan. I think it gets him more excited.
It's
more
tomato at this point.
Yeah, there you go. Or Toyota.
Thank you for that. That's a deep cut.
Only our really.
I found out from listeners that
means.
I was saying it correctly. It is Toyota, based on the actual founder's name.
Oh, we'll have to debate that on the commercial break. Is it Toyota or Toyota, as George says, and supposed fantasy listeners of whom we have no proof? Hey, we'll debate it during the break. Don't move. This is the Ramsey Show.
Hey folks, you know that sinking feeling when you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate, plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. And I am looking for our question of the day. Here it is. This is from Neighborly. The question of the day brought to you by Neighborly, your hub for home services with 19 service brands nationwide. You can find reliable help from great locally owned businesses like Air Serve, Mr. Appliance, and Dryer Vent Wizard, all titles that no one will ever ascribe to me, George.
You are definitely not the Dryer Vent Wizard.
There's Ken Coleman, the Dryer Vent Wizard, Mr. Appliance. Ken Coleman has walked into the room. Never going to happen. But that's okay, George. That's why I go to neighborly.com. They'll help out with just about anything for your home.
Today's question comes from Gene in Wisconsin. I've been offered a job that's a short-term pay cut, about 25% less than my current pay, for roughly the first 6 months, but would be very fruitful in the long run and is in a field I'm really excited about. I'm hesitant because I don't want to put off some other goals, buying a house, wedding savings, etc. Should I put my short-term saving goals for this career change or wait for the next opportunity once I'm through my upcoming life changes? Should I put off the short-term savings to do this, or do I just wait until he's got this stuff covered and then take the pay cut? That's interesting.
This is not as cut and dry as I thought it was going to be as we started out, because what I don't know
there's
is
variables.
The buying the house, that's easy. Wait. There's always going to be other great houses out there. I want you in this new career. So this is a little bit of what I did, George. And when I got into broadcasting, Stacy and I strategically took a step back. We cut our expenses. We sold our home. We knew we were going to take 2 steps backwards to go forward, and it worked. And it was very strategic. We knew it would work. It wasn't some big whee.
It wasn't a pie in the sky, wet finger in the air.
So the house I'm not worried about. The wedding is the only one, George, that gives me pause, because I don't know if we're delaying the wedding. That's a little bit tricky. But
yeah, I'd have some conversations about how is this wedding getting paid for? What is the budget we're trying to set? Can we get there even with the pay cut? That would give me a lot of peace to move forward, because I like this plan. I would be willing to take a pay cut for 6 months.
I would do it. I want to make sure that spouse or potential spouse or who, I just don't know what's going on here, but I would absolutely do it. I would take the 25% pay cut for only 2 reasons, okay? It gets me in on the ladder, and it's the ladder that I want to climb.
Yeah, I said I'm really excited about it.
It's where I want to be. I'm sorry. So I'm on the ladder, and I'm jacked to be on the ladder. So that's why I would do this. I wouldn't delay it. I'd go ahead and take this opportunity now, and then I would adjust my lifestyle on the wedding. I'd change my expenses on the wedding, and I certainly would relax on the house until we get that pay bump. Because the pay bump is coming.
That's my hope.
You got to pay.
It's not
dues.
very clear. It just says would be very fruitful.
I
That
think
sounds
it's there.
confident that
I think it's coming.
6 months later there's a pay bump. But there's a lot of false promises with some companies and careers where they go, oh well, within 6 months you'll probably get a raise and you'll probably get promoted.
Yeah.
So I hope it's a sure thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. All right, let's get to Caden, who joins us now in Orlando, Florida. Caden, how can we help?
Yes, I get paid in Cash App for my side gigs. I was wondering if this is a bad idea.
Why would it be a bad idea? What kind of business is this?
I do cattle. I prep cattle for show, kind of like the pit crew in a NASCAR race.
No kidding. Great explanation, because you answered
Thank
my
you.
next question. I was like, what does that mean to prep cattle?
I knew what it was. I knew Ken didn't. And so I'm glad you clarified.
That's great. So you're brushing the cows, getting them looking all shiny and neat?
Yep, pretty much. Yep. We put glue and paint in them as well. Yep.
And who is paying you?
The client, whoever wants that service completed to their cattle at that show.
And you're asking them, hey, can you pay me on Cash App? And they say, okay.
Yep.
What is your concern? So you called us because you have some type of a concern, I'm guessing. Yes?
Yes, in terms of investing.
Well, what's that have to do? Well, hold on a second. What does that have to do with the Cash App?
Oh, are you investing in the Cash App as well?
Yes.
I would just not invest in the Cash App. I would use it as a payment platform, not as an investment platform. So, Ken, for those that listeners and for you,
I don't even know.
So, in the Cash App, they've become kind of an investing platform where you can invest in single stocks and crypto and all these different things through the Cash App, as well as using it to pay peer to peer.
Right.
And so, I would not mix the two things together. And if that is something that you're tempted by, I would maybe switch to like a Venmo.
Okay.
And strictly use it as a payment platform. And as far as it being a bad idea, it's fine. I mean, I pay my landscaping guy through Venmo, and I assume that he's reporting all of the income as a business account on his taxes. So it would be a bad idea if this was fraud and you weren't reporting the income. But other than that, it's fine. It's just another payment platform.
No problem. Yeah, the biggest thing was just, the investing. Is it a wise thing to do?
Well, you're getting $500, and then Cash App is like, hey, you got $500. You should invest in some single stocks right now. Right? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, but more so, maybe doing just like a little bit of investing. You're not sitting there and investing the $500. Just
exactly
little by little investing as I go through and I grow through my life to where, when retirement comes around. And
I would immediately transfer that income to your bank account, to a checking account, and then invest from the checking account through a different platform. Something more legitimate. If you're doing an IRA on your own, you can do it through Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab. I don't really like these kind of little investing apps that cause you to make bad decisions because they're giving you notifications.
Yeah. I feel like it's a slot machine.
It has
you're
that
just
effect.
sitting there and I'm just hitting the button, and all of a sudden...
But someone's reloading your card.
That's
with
right.
income
That's my
from
point.
your job.
Yeah, I like that advice. Let's go to Jacob in Oklahoma City. Jacob, how can we help?
Well, I'm wanting to know what the best method of saving money is. I'm wanting to.
Jacob,
you got muffled
I
on
think
us.
you just took your phone and put it under your armpit. Can you pull it back up close to your ear?
Yeah, it's up to my ear.
Okay,
there we
I'll
go.
Speak a little louder.
Okay.
All right, I'm wanting to know what the best method is to save money to buy a sailboat because I don't want to buy. I don't want to borrow a loan.
Okay, cool. What's your financial situation? Are you debt-free? Do you have an emergency fund? Do you have savings?
I have a checking account. I don't have a savings account. And I'm debt-free. I am currently employed. And I don't know what the best method is to save money because I thought about putting it in a mutual fund or putting it in a bank account or putting it in a store of savings such as precious metals, but I don't know what the best method of saving money is. I sure though don't want to borrow a loan.
Good. Well, I'm glad you don't want to borrow a loan. I would put this in something better than precious metals or a mutual fund because how far away is this goal? Do you want to buy this boat in the next year or two, or is this 10 years?
Between 5 to 7 years.
Okay. My personal preference would just be to put this in a high-yield savings account online. It'll help. It'll keep it safe. It's FDIC insured up to $250,000 per account category, and that will let your money grow at right now about 4% or so, which is fine. The goal here is not to double your money for this sailboat. That you're more likely to lose your money than you are to double it if you start to play that game. So I would just put it in a high-yield savings account and start to set an aggressive goal and say, hey, how much does the sailboat cost?
Okay, so, well, a high-yield savings account protects my money from inflation, because I remember in 2020, inflation was like 10% or something.
Inflation, you're going to be about matching inflation right now with these high-yield savings accounts. I would not worry about inflation. Your savings rate is way more important than the inflation rate. So I would just set a goal. Don't worry about it. Stop watching the headlines. Don't put it in precious metals. Just put it in a savings account and make sure you're debt-free. I'd want you to have a paid-for home before you go out and buy a toy like a sailboat. But it's a great dream.
Jacob, I got 10 seconds. Give me a sailboat term that I can use with George. What would it be?
Enough room.
Oh, very good. George, give me enough room to get into this commercial break. Back away, please.
Well done.
I don't even know what that means. I didn't have time to ask you.
We'll Google it.
Yeah, we'll Google it. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 40% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, the esteemed, the incomparable, George Campbell.
That was pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to
hanging out with Ken. I mean, it's dopamine on steroids.
There it is. Speaking of dopamine, we got your dopamine. We'll give you some hope. That'll give you the hit of
some
dopamine.
Hopamine. Kelly Daniel liked that one.
She actually did. Like, Kelly's a tastemaker, and if she gives you the...
I think I transcended dad joke on that one.
She actually, what you can't see in the control room, she actually toasted George with her tea or coffee, whatever she's enjoying right now. She sits in for the esteemed and incomparable James Childs, our fearless leader.
That's right. He was doing some ministry time right now. I just want to let the audience know.
Ministry time or shuffleboard and Boca?
No, it's a legitimate ministry time.
Oh, okay. Very good. He's a good man. Good man.
A good husband.
I'll tell you who else we're excited to talk to today is Sarah, who joins us on the line in Chicago. Sarah, how can we help?
Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's going on, Sarah?
Awesome. My husband and I are on baby step 3 and cannot get out. Wondering if husband should stay home to get really radical with baby steps to just start stacking cash and propel us forward.
Whoa.
We have a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Okay. And how would he staying at home allow you guys to make progress? Explain the numbers.
Absolutely. So childcare here in the Chicago area for 3 kids is $4,600
Okay.
a month.
Holy smokes.
Yes. For 2 kids, because my oldest is going to public school in August, for 2 kids, because of their ages, and also every year they increase tuition, which is always expected, it goes to $3,700 a month. So there's only a $900 savings. We make $260,000 as a household. I make $170,000, and my husband makes $90,000. So when you look at the take home, I take home after taxes and health insurance, which is on mine. My take home would be $8,300, and my husband's take home with taxes, because we're dual income family, is $4,800. So he's pretty much paying the daycare bill, and we just have no margin. If something comes up, whatever it might be, we've built up Baby Step 3 so many times. We've been almost on it 2 years. We paid off $105,000 in debt in 14 months with 1 kid. We got after it big time. We cashed out stocks, sold a car, got rid of leases. We went really at it. But we just can't propel forward because, we had more kids, we've moved, we've propelled our careers, but we can't get ahead. So we're looking for something to unlock us.
But will the margin be there? Yes, I understand that the expense goes away, but you're still at the same 8,300.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. So looking at the Every Dollar app, which we love, and we've been through FPU, with my take home of $8,300, it gives us still left to budget after doing house and insurance, so our health insurance, etc. It would give us about $2,200 left to budget. So we would try to maneuver that to be.
I'm confused, though, because his take-home pay is still more than you're paying for daycare. So how do you end up with more money if he stays home?
Well, I think we're also looking at cutting different budgets and different things just to get radical, because we also have to pay for after-school care as well.
So why not? You're saying there's other expenses if they stay in daycare.
Travel.
I still think you're going to net. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers here. You're paying $44 in take-home pay towards daycare. He's making $57 in take-home pay.
Oh no, he's making $4,800 in take-home pay.
I understand. $57,000 a year is what he's bringing home,
sorry.
And you're paying in daycare $44,000 a year if it goes down to $3,700 a month.
Right.
But that's $900, George. Just you share, but there's $900 right there.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's where also too, we've been trying, cash flow is very challenging for us. We've been trying to get ahead. It just seems like something always kind of comes up.
I think there's other expense. Now, your daycare is astronomical. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you guys are taking home over $13,000 a month.
We are.
So where is the other $9,000 going?
Yes, I'm looking at the house is $4,500 because our rent's $2,400, and then to keep the house operating is about $4,500. We have gas. I'm in sales, so I travel for work. And then, we've had to, I think our discretion got a little out of hand, so we've carried that back. We've had some travel. We had a parent death in the family. We've had 2 babies, so we've had a ton of medical just because we were paying off debt. We didn't go in stork mode, so we're just behind. We're trying to figure out.
Yeah, the debt is gone. Life has hit you, but now we're looking ahead and we're going, all right, the debt is gone. Life's not always going to be this chaotic. We're not always going to be in daycare. But just looking at the numbers, the first place I would cut is not his entire income. The first place I'd cut is everything else in the budget, including the discretionary spending.
I have a suggestion, Sarah, that I want you to be open-minded to, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. This is what I recall. We're
great.
Struggling.
And this is from our experience, from Stacy and I's experience when the kids were younger. My kids are teenagers now, but when they were younger, I was here at Ramsey, and Stacy was working full-time. And we needed someone to be there. So they were in school, but we needed someone to be there when they got home from school around 2:30 until around 5:36, so that the kids were doing their homework. And then, so we looked at that, and we found a nice lady. We looked for I don't know, I'd say a long time. I'd say 4 or 5 months. We found the right person. And it was a retired lady. She was a grandmother. And so she was a fraction of what it was going to cost us to use a service. And I would just consider that if I were you. If your husband kept his income, and let's say, because you're already going to pay for after school care anyway. So what if for the two littles that are not going to be in school in the fall, you find a grandmother, somebody that you met through a church or a neighbor or somebody in there, you check them all
or
out.
Even care.com and find a part-time nanny.
Yeah, but just what if we did that and they were in your home, they were being cared for, the person did laundry, they helped with meal planning, made your life. What's that?
Said preach.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But you have to look into that. This is not like something that I've just crafted in my head.
Right.
This is possible. Right. And so let's just say that person, George, do some math for me. If you pay them an hourly rate of $15, $20 an hour, I don't know what that would be, but depending on that.
Easily 20 for Chicago area, I imagine.
20 to 25, because we did look at nannies.
That may not work out. It may not work out. But the point is if you figure out a way, some of the hours, you just got to find a way. I don't think him coming home is the right move here. Is this something he wants?
Okay. He's open to it. We just are trying to get ahead.
I think he needs to be working more, not less.
Yeah.
I think he actually needs to work. I think he needs to work a second job. Maybe for 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Truthfully, the house payment, if it's just your income, the house is just too much at that point. So if you lose this income, the numbers get skewed in a bad way. And so I would keep the income, and I'd find every other place to cut. Because it sounds like, truthfully, there's probably some other things we could cut first. And this just feels like a nice shortcut to hopefully fix things. But my worry is he stays home, nothing is fixed. It's still chaotic because the numbers didn't really change.
Right. No, that's fair. Thank you. We're just looking at all sorts of options. So you guys were my first phone call. I'm so glad I got through.
Listen, go find your Mrs. Doubtfire. I think that's the play. I really do. I really
appreciate it.
I think the number's going to be in your favor, but run the numbers, crunch the numbers based on your market, and we'll see, George. But I like that move. They're not in the daycare system. They're in their home. That person can also do some things around the house. You heard how she was like, oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Imagine if they're doing laundry, helping with meal planning.
The daycare struggle is real.
It is.
Especially in these high cost living areas.
You don't get any of those home benefits. They don't do your laundry. They're not doing meal planning.
That'd be nice.
They're just chalking your kids full of gummies and what do you call those? Goldfish? Those cheddar cheese snacks that you love so much, George.
I do love them.
George, you're going to be a dad. It's going to be here soon.
I'm dreaming about it.
Oh, this is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by George Campbell, and he's wearing a fantastic Bombers jacket here. So if you don't watch the show,
thank you, Ken.
You want to tune into that. Some of the smaller gentlemen out there, they can see what he's wearing, and you can pull those off
as well. That's my target demo for the small dudes out there. I got you covered.
Let's go to Christian in Atlanta, Georgia. Christian, how can we help?
Hey, guys. How are you doing today?
We're having a blast. What's going on?
Yeah, it sounds like you're having a fun time. My wife and I are in a very unique opportunity where our name is up. We're next on the wait list for our community to rent out our house. And we only have 3 months to rent it out once our name comes up. And it could be tomorrow or it could be 2 years from now. And we're wondering your opinion on renting it out versus just sticking where we are. We're on baby step 6 already. So we could just keep paying down the mortgage and be out of debt in probably 5 to 10
I've
years.
got a couple of questions. Is this like a real hot neighborhood to the point that they've got this kind of process where it's almost like a lottery where it's like, this is your chance. And then you
There's
rent.
a wait list.
There's a wait list just to be able to rent your home.
Yep, we're number one.
Where is this in Atlanta? Do you mind telling me?
Yeah, we're in Dunwoody.
Oh, that explains it right there in the circle. Okay.
Yep.
So you're getting a little starry-eyed going, we could rent this place
What's
for $4,000 a month.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking. What's the rent? What could you get? What's the going rate? What do you think you'll get?
Yeah, realistically, we could get between $5,000 and $5,500 a month, and our mortgage payment is about $2,600 a month.
Oh, I'm so excited to have George answer this. George, I want to know what you're going to say
I'm
here.
such a Debbie Downer dream crusher.
Go ahead. I may have questions.
Well, what you're going to do is you're going to have to go buy a super expensive house and get another mortgage.
Which we don't want you to do.
And then hope that, the idea here is that the renter, they're paying the mortgage for us and everything's going to work out perfectly.
What if he rented somewhere else, George?
Well, I don't think you guys are going to go rent somewhere else. My guess is you're going to want to go buy another house.
Yeah, we have a 6-month-old kid, and part of this is we're currently in a townhouse, and we'd like a yard. And so that's part of the motivation.
The 6-month-old needs to run around, Ken. Needs to run around the yard.
Not yet, but
right. He jests. He jests.
I'm jesting.
I'm having some fun with this too because here's the deal. Even if you didn't have the kid and you didn't want the yard and you went to rent in Dunwoody in that area is very pricey. So this is, again, you're not making any progress financially. At least that's the way I see it. George, am I right?
If you want a single-family home with a yard in your area, what would that cost? What's the home value?
It would probably be between $500,000 and $700,000.
And I assume you guys don't have a down payment. You'd have to do some kind of HELOC situation, cash out refi to get some money to even put down on this house.
No, we could get $130,000. We've got about $90,000 cash and about $60,000 in investments right now.
But $130,000 on a $700,000 house, it still leaves you with almost $600,000 mortgage.
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
It just feels like it feels good to get the rent money because it's higher than our mortgage, but you're also going to then absorb a huge mortgage on the other side, which is going to stress you guys out and lose the home you're in. Personally, I would get excited about it for about 10 minutes and I'd talk it over with my wife and we'd be like, yeah, we're just not going to do it. It sucks, but we're just not at that place where it makes sense.
Yeah, even though the interest rates, it's like 2.625, and it just seems like such a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, you're going to get a $600,000 mortgage with a 6% interest rate going, oh my gosh, our mortgage is now $6,000 a month. It's not worth the spread that we were making on our rental.
Mortgage rates are more than 6 right now. They're over 7. Am I right, George?
Yeah, on a 30-year.
Oh, 30. Yeah, I'm sorry.
They're around that.
The 15's not even worth it. Here's the deal. Here's what you're doing. It's not worth it. But I want you to see what you're doing because this is very normal, Christian. You're getting hung up on the interest rate that you have now, and you're going, that's such a good deal. But you're looking at one number. You're not looking at all the numbers. And what George and I have attempted to do here is walk you through all of the numbers. Make sense?
Yeah, and I have crunched some numbers on like opportunity cost and all of the other things that the other expenses that go into it. But
there's also risk.
That was the root of the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly opens us up to more risk.
And, the thing needs a new roof or a new HVAC, and then your new house needs a new HVAC, and now you're all of a sudden going, this was a bad plan. And I assume you guys have an amazing income. It sounds like you're doing so great financially that you don't really need this rental income. It's not going to change your life.
That's true. Yeah, thankfully to my parents who were huge fans of the Ramsey program, my wife and I have really good financial habits, and we actually just crossed over the $1 million mark less than a month ago.
Amazing.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
You're already there. Yeah, don't do this, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Don't get sucked into the matrix, okay?
The way I would do it, and it's old school, and it works, and it's slow, I would pay off my primary residence and then stack up cash and buy a rental and find a deal and do it the right way.
Yeah. Good man, Christian. I love
you're
that.
crushing it.
Yeah, wow. Let's go to Wyatt now in the Windy City, George. Chicago, Illinois. Wyatt, how can we help?
Ken and George, how's it going, guys?
Well, we're having a blast. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for taking my call. So I'd just like to start off by saying I started listening 5 or 6 months ago, and in 2 weeks, I'll pay off the rest of my student loan debt and then cash flow my senior year. So thank you guys.
Whoa! Congratulations!
Give us the numbers on that so people can hear that it can be done. How much did you pay off?
All right. Well, 50, I will in 2 weeks. So I need 2 paychecks to do it. But in 2 weeks, I will have finished paying off $5,700 in student loans. And then I'll be able to cash flow the senior year.
That's awesome.
Basically just because I chose to stay in state and living from home.
Good for you, man.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. So I appreciate that. But I'm calling today because of my mom. And she's 53, and she has a $72,000 HELOC. And it's my opinion that she needs to go gazelle intense because she doesn't have any retirement. And I'm starting to worry about her that I'm going to have to take care of her. So my question is for you guys, how can I, as my mom's son, get her on board the baby steps and the Dave Ramsey plan?
This is the age-old question. How do I get someone else to do something that they don't want to do?
Well, yep. I don't think she likes being in debt, and she's starting to form a plan, but I don't think she realizes the situation that she's in and how bad it is.
Has she watched any of the show or listened to maybe a podcast? Is that something that she would do in her normal rhythm?
Not necessarily in a normal rhythm. I have shared 1 hour of the episodes from Spotify. I'm not sure if she listened or not.
Yeah.
But she is someone who is willing to learn and grow.
How often do you see your mom?
Well, I'm in Chicago for the summer. I live from Massachusetts, so I'll be living with her when I begin the fall semester. So
okay.
I'm gonna be with her every day starting in September.
Cool. Well, what if you watched FPU with her? You took her through Financial Peace University and said, hey, Mom, I'm going to pay for this. Here's all I'm asking you to do. I'm going to come over. We're going to have dinner once a week, and I want to just watch another lesson with you and just have a conversation about it and see what you think. Would she be willing to do that?
Yeah, I think she would be willing to do that, definitely.
And I think if you come at it with empathy, because I know what it's, when you're a son going to his mom, giving her financial advice, it just feels weird because she's like, I still remember when I changed your diaper, dude, and you're trying to tell me how to live my life. And so there's going to be a bit of that. And so I think the more you come at it with empathy, the more you reveal her own pain to her in a way that isn't judgmental, but it is out of love. And you go, Mom, listen what your retirement looks like if you keep this up. I don't want that for you. And as much as I love you, I don't want to be taking care of you in your old age because you didn't take care of your own finances. I want you to have the great retirement where you're not reliant on me. And if you do all of that with a spirit to teach, a spirit to love her well, I think she'll turn around. And it may be longer than you want it to. And she's at 53, it's harder to change those habits that she's had for many, many years, right? And there's a lot of unveiling she needs to do, which is why Financial Peace University is so great, because you go, oh, I thought the HELOC was the solution. Turns out it was a terrible shortcut. So I'm going to gift you Financial Peace University to go through that with your mom, and I hope that turns her around. Of course, encourage her to listen to the show, the podcast, give her the Total Money Makeover. Try it all. She may be a book person versus a video person. Try it all and see if we can get her on board. So hang on the line. Skylar's going to pick up. We'll gift you 1 year of Financial Peace University. Appreciate you calling in. Congrats on the success.
Well done, George. Always good to be with you, my friend.
You too.
Thanks to Kelly Daniel for steering the ship this hour. Thanks to you, America. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's George Camel. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show. It's where we help you win in life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. All three of those areas are tied together. I'm Ken Coleman. George Camel joins me this hour, 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. So we're taking your calls. Money questions. How about work questions? George is the money expert. I'll help you in your work life. And that could be I'm stuck, I'm in a toxic situation, I'm burned out, I'm bored, I want to make more money. any of those questions. We want to help you increase that income. That gets you through the baby steps faster. So I'm here to help in that area. And George, of course, is the, he's the Mac daddy.
Wow.
The daddy of the Mac. I think they said
That's
one
an
time
old
in the
school
90s.
reference.
It is. I don't remember what artist said that.
I was probably 4 years old, so I have no idea.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
I'll have to do that on Ask Jeeves to figure out who did that one.
Ask
you
Jeeves.
Like that? Throwback?
I do. 888-825-5225 is the number to jump in. George and I love doing this, so we're going to start it out this hour with Nick in the Big Apple. Nick, how can we help?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
So, I make a lot of money. I've been with the same job for about 4 years. I'm 26 years old. But I recently, this past year, have just been struggling with some mental health issues. Everything at work seems to be negative. I contribute a lot. I feel like I'm doing my job well, but the organization itself is not doing all that well. But all the negativity really trickles down. It's a lot of yelling. It's a lot of nothing's ever right.
Hold on a second. Who's yelling?
A lot of the leadership team.
Okay. And what else is going on? I heard that you feel like you're doing your job, you're pulling your weight, and you got some teammates that aren't, or maybe your leader isn't. What's going on there?
Right, exactly. So I work in enterprise technology sales, B2B, and it can be interesting the way that some of these deals shape up, and sometimes you'll have years where it'll be very dependent on one or two transactions. So you're basically all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a good run so far, but it's spotty. There's things that you can't control. You could be really good at your job, but your attainment might not reflect that.
Sure.
And I think that's what's going on across the organization, and especially the economy, the way that it is. It's been challenging this past year, especially.
So what does it mean to you when you say I'm having mental health issues? What does that look like, feel like?
Just every day that I wake up during the work week, it's another day that I just would rather not mutter through, and just kind of going through the motions, losing motivation.
Yeah.
Really just struggling to keep my performance where it was because I just don't feel valued. I don't feel like
that's it.
I make any sort of difference.
You nailed it. All right. So the reason I ask this, and I want us to be careful. And Nick, this is not at you. This is to the larger audience as well. I guess you could get into a debate about whether that's mental health or not. I don't think that's what I would call a mental health issue. That right there is just you aren't feeling valued, and you don't want to keep going into that place. And yet you got to right now until you replace it. And so there's obligation that is colliding with, exhaustion. I would tell you are mentally and emotionally exhausted. That I know. And so it's okay to use the phrase mental health, but I just want to stipulate that you're okay. You just need a new location. You need a new gig. And so I don't know if you were calling for permission on that. You don't need it from us. But I think I'm looking. If you haven't already started looking, I'm looking. Because when I hear things like they're yelling and it's just a nasty culture, that is rarely can you change that. You having a meeting with your leader is probably not going to change that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I am asking for your permission, though, because it's tied to a financial predicament.
What's the predicament?
The predicament is I am under contract to purchase a co-op in Queens that I was hoping to close this month, but the contingency is there's a garage spot that the owner of this co-op has that he needs to sell to somebody else in the building, and I do not want it for the price that he's asking. So this is going to drag out, it seems, for at least another few months, if not, half a year. So if I go and start looking for jobs now and potentially receive an offer and I'm looking to make a move, that might affect my mortgage lending ability.
Because of your change in income.
Well, potentially because of my change in income, but also just because of my tenure.
That doesn't matter, Nick. You can always buy a co-op or I would not make a decision about a co-op. I would make the decision about my life. And this work situation is much bigger than the co-op situation. This is about your livelihood, your life, the way you live it. You're having a hard time getting out of bed. So the job decision is the one that I'm focused on, not the co-op.
What are you making right now, Nick?
So my income varies a little bit because I'm in sales, but the average of the past 3 years is about $140,000.
And you don't think you could make $140,000 in tech sales at a different company?
No, I definitely think I could. It's just a matter of I'm scared to make a jump because I don't want it to negatively affect the mortgage process on this co-op and have this fall through, because I think it's a big opportunity financially for me to finally own something and have an asset. And I'm young and I'm trying to get in the real estate game. I'm not really passionate about tech sales. I make a lot of money doing it, but I'm really not stimulated by it the way that I would like to.
Are you going to live in this co-op?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any debt?
No debt.
Okay. Well, what's the worst case scenario here? Let's say the mortgage doesn't get approved because you have this change in income or whatever. What happens?
I can't close on the co-op, and I'm stuck living in a very small apartment right now in the basement of one of my dad's rental properties. The price is right. I'm living for free. I've been living here for about 10 or 11 months. The initial plan was only to live here for a couple until I could close on something.
That's a sweet deal in New York. Well, do you lose any money if you back out of this deal because of the mortgage falling through?
A couple $1,000, but nothing crazy.
Okay. So it's not going to tank your life. It would stink because you're really excited about this. But I'm with Ken on I don't want to stick in this job I hate for 6 months just because of this co-op deal.
Yeah.
So I would find another tech sales job if that's what you need right now. Eventually, I think you need a whole new career.
At least in a better environment, just to get stable.
Just to get stable. Then we can figure out what's next and what career is right for you.
Thanks for the call. Hang in there. Better days are ahead. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, being free to make your own medical decisions is a big deal these days. Christian Healthcare Ministries gives members the freedom to choose the doctors and providers they want without the frustration of worrying about networks and with no waiting period to join. It's a membership-based nonprofit ministry where hundreds of thousands of Christians share funds to pay for and pray for each other's medical bills. For over 40 years, CHM has helped families living across all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Check out more today at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel. 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. Ryan joins us now in San Jose, California. Ryan, how can we help?
Hi, good afternoon, guys. I'm in $50,000 in student debt, and I've been looking for a job, but no one has hired me. What are the next steps I should do?
Well, you just keep going. You don't quit. So what have you been trying to get hired to do?
So I graduated from university 18 months ago. And when I first graduated, I go on my Excel spreadsheet, type in like all the student debt that went in, and then I'm just like, okay, first goal, I'm going to go try to seek a job. And then that was from January of 2022 till now. It's been 18 months, been applying for jobs, been active on LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, been applying for jobs. No one calls me for interviews.
Okay.
And
all right.
Either that or I've been ghosted. And then I'm just like, initially I was thinking like, okay, if the student loan forgiveness was to happen, $20,000 might be forgiven.
Yeah.
But if not, I need to be serious about this plan. What should I do before I make my first payment in October?
Yeah. All right. So Ryan, I'm going to give you two pieces of advice here. I want George to weigh in as well. You should have been working the entire time. Is it the job that you've been trying to get? Probably not. I don't know if it was attached to your major. I never got an answer from you as to what type of jobs you're looking for. We'll get to that in a minute. But you need to be working. We are in a fantastic gig economy. Now, if you've not heard that phrase, that just means we live in an economy where you can work, whether you're driving delivery for one of the major rideshare companies, or you're doing something locally, or you're doing freelance work. The gig economy is I'm a private contractor, essentially. I set my own hours. I come and go. And there is a lot of opportunity in our economy for those type of jobs. There are also right now, we're seeing a tremendous amount of jobs that are available in the $15 to $20 an hour range, maybe doing something menial, maybe not doing something that you want to do, but it is money nonetheless. And you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for someone to discover you.
I've been doing rideshare on the side.
Oh, we didn't tell us that.
Is that how you've been paying the bills for the last 16 months?
Correct. I've been paying the bills for the last 16
How much money are you
I
making?
don't pay rent. Per weekend, I am making between $500 to $600.
What are you doing during the week?
During the week, I'm just waking up at 9 and then just keep on looking at my laptop and just applying for jobs until someone reaches out to me and interviews me.
Ryan, that's not enough. You need to be working full time. You need to be working 40 hours a week and knocking out that debt. You could have knocked a huge chunk of that debt out working 40 hours a week.
Just a retail job,
but
whatever it is.
What you're doing right now is not working. And you are essentially playing the professional lottery by going on LinkedIn and sending out messages, sending out resumes, and you are a nameless, faceless person. And I hate that for you. But that's the process we live in right now, where everything's AI. And if you apply for a job, if you don't have a relationship connection to that company, to say, hey, let me tell you about Ryan. I know Ryan. I've known Ryan since he was a baby, or blah, 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 whatever it is. You've got to make real personal connections at these companies to get yourself an interview. You're not even getting to the interview phase. And then when you are getting there, nothing's happening because you haven't stood out prior to the process or in the game. So I'm going to give you some free resources. I'm also going to give you a couple of paid resources towards the end. I'll tell you what those are. But you need to understand that right now your goal is you got to get out of the doldrums. You got to get out of this rut where you're just sitting around getting rejected day in and day out, hearing nothing but crickets and only doing rideshare on the weekend. You could be paying off this student loan debt. George, how much could he, I mean, you know the numbers, crunch the numbers. How much could he be paying off every month? How much could he have paid off if he's working full time while he's trying to find that placement in the field he wants to be in?
Well, a lot of these, as you know, these rideshare jobs, you can easily make $20 an hour delivering food, groceries, people, packages. And so let's even call that $20 an hour, 40 hours a week. That's $800 a week. So you start multiplying that out. You said you don't pay rent, right?
No, I don't pay rent.
So you're talking over $3,000 a month that could have been going towards paying off these student loans during the pause, so that you're not in this predicament where now student loan payments are coming back and you still are unemployed. So I would get to work ASAP, even if it's not the dream job.
You could almost be out of the $50,000 of debt is what we're getting at. You could be very close to have paid that off. Just doing what George did with those numbers. So what field are you trying to get into?
So I've been trying to be a data analyst or a financial analyst because I have more into data analytics and graduate finance.
Okay, so you got the degree, you had a good GPA, all that stuff?
Correct, sir.
All right. So you realize that you're going to have to make some personal connections. You got to have some people calling people on your behalf. That you've already played it the way that most people try to play it, and then they get discouraged. So I'm going to give you a book called The Proximity Principle, all right? And I want you to read it, or I'll give you the audio version if that's your preference. And it's a deep dive on how to make connections, because the right people, Ryan, plus the right places bring me opportunity. They show up at your door. Do you understand that formula?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When I'm around the right people, they'll make good connections for me. When I'm in the right places, I meet more of the right people and I start getting opportunities. You got to get really serious about this, but you're going to cut your time that you've just been sitting there submitting resumes and all that, and you're going to get busy and you're going to get some momentum in paying off this debt. And then from there, you're going to feel a little bit more juice, because you're not just sitting there looking at that student loan payment come in and nothing happening. You need some wins right now, and paying off that student loan by working 40, 50, maybe 60 hours a week for a while would be great, and then making connections. You're driving, and when you're not driving, you're meeting with people. George, that's the play.
And with no rent, I mean, let's knock this thing out while you have that sweet deal happening.
Yeah. So hang on the line. We'll get you a copy of the proximity principle. It'll help you there. All right, let's go to Madison, Wisconsin, where Clint joins us. Clint, how can we help?
How you doing, guys?
Great. How are you, sir?
Oh, pretty good. So me and my wife were about $60,000 in debt and just are struggling to get anywhere. We've been paying on it, and it just seems like we're stuck.
What's your income?
About 90 to 100 a year.
Okay. And what kind of debt is the 60?
So there's about 22 in credit card. There's about 30, say about 34 in car loans, and I think that's about it.
And what is your other car worth? You have two?
Yes, sir. Yeah, sorry. The other one we owe, I think, 16 on it.
Okay, so we got two cars. So we got, if I'm looking at this, what are those cars worth? You owe 34 and you owe 16. What are both of those cars worth?
The 16, it's worth $32,000, and the other car is worth like 40 something. I think like 45.
I am selling these cars. The cars are what's crushing you guys. I mean, this is way over half your income in the car's values.
Right.
And the nice thing about car loans, the only nice thing, is that you can kind of undo some of this, especially if the car's worth more than what you owe. And so what if we sold these cars and you netted out of this deal, you'd net, let's see, you'd probably walk away with at least 20 grand, right? You could buy two cheaper cars.
Right.
So you buy two cheaper cars that are 10 grand each for now. We'll upgrade later to something reasonable with cash. That leaves you with the credit card debt, because that high interest is killing you guys. And let's just knock this stuff out. You're making $100K. You got cars that are reasonable. You're down to $22K instead of $60. And let's debt snowball this thing, smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rate. Knock this out. Get on a budget. Get on a proven plan. Cut all the discretionary spending. Let's try to make more right now for a season. And you'll be out of this thing within months. But if you hang on to these cars, it's just going to be a wait.
Should we get them in FPU?
I think we should. Let's hook them up with Financial Peace University for 1 year.
He feels tired, and he feels like he doesn't have a lot of hope, and we're going to get you hope with community. So hang on the line. We'll get you an FPU, get you and your wife in there, and you guys, you're going to change your life. I know you are. We believe in you, Clint. Thank you so much for the call. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Thrilled to have you with us. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by George Camel. The phone number is 888-825-5225, helping you win in your life, specifically your money, your work, and your relationships. 888-825-5225. Let's go to Diana, who joins us in Houston, Texas. Diana, how can we help?
Hi, good afternoon, Ken and George. So my question is, when will it be a good time for us to refinance our home?
What's making you want to refinance?
Well, for starters, we are paying a 5% interest, for the past 14 years. And we have not. We still owe about a little over $100,000 on our principal balance. We have 2 daughters. One of them is about to go to college within a year and a half from now. The other one is not that far from there. So I want to free up money to start saving up for college, also start ramping up on our retirement fund, and just, having more cash available for us,
Oh,
for
are you
the
wanting to
future.
do a cash out refinance, not just a refinance?
Well, I don't know what would make more sense because, right now I called my mortgage company yesterday and I was just getting information, and they told me, they gave me an interest rate of a 6.5, which is higher than what we're paying right now. So I just want to get, to see what will be a good decision. Should we just continue paying the house as we are and just making extra payments towards the principal, or should we refinance? So that's why I'm calling.
Yeah, refinancing is not going to solve any problems for you right now, and right now is one of the worst times to refinance because you guys have a lower interest rate than the market. So that's not the solution to your problems. I would absolutely not do a cash out refinance because that's putting you further into debt. And so you think it may be solving one problem over here, but you're just adding more to the other side in the pile. So the only time it would make sense to refinance is if you can get a lower interest rate, if you can move from a variable rate to a fixed rate, which I assume you guys have a fixed rate right now?
Correct.
Okay. You can get a shorter loan term. So if you were refinancing from a 30 to a 15-year, and you could kind of ROI on that because you're going to pay closing costs. It's going to cost money to do this refinance. You want to make sure that it actually makes financial sense.
Right.
So it doesn't sound like it's going to solve any of that for you. It may just be that the mortgage is just too much for you guys based on your income. Is that the case?
Well, no. Well, right now we're our income is between 80 to 100,000 net, depending on on what my husband does and so forth. But I just want.
And what's the mortgage?
Right now, like what we pay a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a little over $1,400.
Okay.
A month.
So the mortgage is reasonable, and that tells me that the mortgage isn't the problem. Are there other expenses that are holding you guys back from being able to save up for college? Do you have any other debt other than the mortgage?
No, we don't. No, the mortgage is it.
Okay, so if you're telling me you're taking home anywhere from $6,500 to $8,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sorry. It all depends. I know that because we're in the transportation industry, so sometimes there are a couple of years that we have really good income. There are a couple of years where we're just kind of low, so that's basically our average. But sometimes we have made down to 60, maybe 50 a year, so it all depends. So hopefully, it'll be better. Like we are projecting maybe this year at about 80.
Okay.
So 80 to 90. So.
And you said that's take-home pay. That's net income?
Correct. Yes.
So that's $6,500 a month. Let's call it $6,000 for even numbers. $1,400 is reasonable. That puts you right at about 25% of your take-home pay for the mortgage. And so I say all that to say the home is not the issue. We've got to look at, we can increase income. That's one way we can save up for college. The other way is to decrease other expenses. And so we got to look at the budget and go, where in the budget are we missing something? How can we lower our insurance rates by shopping around with our friends at Xander? Are there other discretionary expenses? Are we eating out too much? Do we have too many subscriptions? Do we need to cut the expensive gym membership? Those kinds of things, as you add them all up, can add up to big numbers to help you guys save. So are you investing right now in retirement?
Yes, we are.
What percentage of your income?
At this time, we're not. We stopped last year. I have about 150 in IRA.
Why'd you stop?
Well, there were COVID started. When COVID started, my husband didn't work for a couple of months. So when everything started opening up,
that was 3 years ago.
Right. So, it could be, I would say expenses, even though we don't have any debt, but expenses that we.
I think you guys aren't doing a detailed monthly budget right now, and the money is just floating away. and we need to get back on track. So I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to gift you 1 year of every dollar, the premium version, to really make a plan. You lay out that $6,500 at the top, and you are the boss of that budget. And once you make the budget is the boss of you guys. And that will free you to go, oh, that's where our money's going. We said we were going to spend $500 on food. It ended up being $1,000 because we got a little lazy. So if you add all of that stuff up in the budget, it will allow you to go, we got to invest 15% of our income to retirement first. Whatever's left on top of that, we're going to start throwing at college. Whatever's left over that, we're going to throw at the house. And if it turns out there's not enough money, we got to increase our income and find some more stability.
Yeah.
So hang on the line. We'll gift you every dollar premium. And for those of you listening out there, we have an amazing deal right now. If you go to everydollar.com/George, 14-day free trial and $15 off. $15 off if you want to get the premium version.
So hang on the line. We'll get you that. Let's go to, Ali in Washington, D.C. How can we help?
Hi, George and Ken. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
My question is on student loans, whether I should pay it all off or whether I should pay in lump sum.
Aren't those the same thing?
So I owe a total about $64. I do have enough cash on hand to pay it all off. But then, we're a little bit nervous about not having enough money for down payment next year. So that's part of it. And then the other part is we were just thinking about maybe perhaps pay $40K on the student loan and then take it to next year, perhaps in 2 years completely paid off.
Okay. Well, in the Ramsey plan, the way that will help you do this with peace is to slow down on the home ownership goal, because right now we got a pile of debt to clean up. So I would not go into home ownership with the student loan still hanging around my neck. And if that means it slows down the home ownership process by a year because we have to save back up, I'm okay with that. But right now, that money, that's Sally Mae. It's got Sally Mae's name on it, not your new home name on it. And so I would pay it off in full today. Let's see where we're at. Let's then get an emergency fund in place of 3 to 6 months, then begin saving up that down payment. How long would that take you if you did it that way?
I think I could get it done by the end of next year. I would have more than enough for a down payment, a nice down payment for the house, and then of course emergency fund. I think I already have.
Now imagine that.
Amount.
It stinks because you were like, man, I wanted to get a house sooner than that. But a year and a half from now, you step into home ownership with no debt except for this mortgage. That's reasonable. You step in with a fully funded emergency fund ready to cover you because home ownership is freaking expensive. And then you also have the down payment instead of trying to put nothing down to scrape by to get into the home. So that's the way to do it. And if you do a 15-year fixed rate with the payments no more than a quarter of your take-home pay, even though it's going to take longer, I understand that, you will walk into this with a whole lot more peace.
Yeah.
And that's what we want for you.
And Ali, you've been disciplined to save that money to be able to pay off these loans. You now know that Uncle Joe's not coming through. So pay it off. It's a game changer. You're going to be
Not
so
part of
much
it.
further ahead. Don't look at it as I'm behind in my homeowner goal. Look at it as I'm ahead in life, because that's really what's going on. I'd pay them off now, today, before close of business. That'll be a fantastic way to sleep tonight. Thank you for the call. All right, don't move. More calls coming up. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by George Camel. Thrilled to have you with us. Our scripture of the day comes from Proverbs 24:16. For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumble in times of calamity. Our quote from Michael Jordan: I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So that's fun. So during the commercial break, just to get a little inside baseball, George and I, or any of the Ramsey personalities, twice an hour we go out and we meet folks in the lobby and say hi, high five, sign books, take pictures and all this stuff. And so in hour one today, we had a fine young lady, just had her act together. Good questions. Her name was Jessica. She was from in Nashville. So we said, this is in our backyard. And so as we were talking to Jessica, I asked her at what point, what does she do? And she works for Crumble.
Corporate training.
Corporate training.
Yeah.
And I just made a little smart aleck comment. Well, the first thing you need to do is drop a box of cookies by sometime. And she said, as I recall, playfully, I can make that happen. Well, so here we are in hour three, and we go out in the lobby to say hi to some folks. And who is in the lobby with her dad?
Jessica. With a giant box of Crumble cookies.
With a giant box of Crumble cookies.
I think that thing is bigger than me.
It's huge. So
we have it on air if you're watching on YouTube. Ken brought it in the studio.
I brought it. Oh, my gosh.
Can you reveal that to the camera, Ken? Is there a way to do that?
I'm afraid I'm going to dump it. Can we... Don't dump it, is what Kelly said.
Do not dump it. That's precious cargo.
There it is.
There's
That's
the camera
all I
angle.
can do. I'm very nervous.
This is like Crumble is not a sponsor. They're not an advertiser. We just thought it was really fun.
It's not an advertising spot. Well, when people bring us good food, I'm going to thank them.
That's really kind of Jessica to do that.
So Jessica, you're amazing. She's out in the lobby and she has her act together. She's great, and she's leaving at 4 a.m. Wow. To go on a training trip. So she's getting after it. So anyway,
and if listeners out there,
she wrote us a nice card.
The way to Ken's heart is through food. He will accept it if you bring it.
Yeah, I got no problem. People ask me all the time, will you eat it? I go, absolutely, we could eat it. What do I don't need an official taster.
She did say we have to share it with the team.
So we're going to share it with the team, by the way.
They're very excited.
Now look at them. They haven't been paying attention for 3 hours, and now they're jumping up.
It's the best part of their day.
They're so excited. So this is for the team because they're the ones that deserve it anyway. But here we go.
That's right.
Let's go to Vancouver. You ever been to Vancouver?
I haven't. I've been to Montreal in Quebec, but not Vancouver.
I'd really like to go. Look at me now. Now, see, I'm getting free cookies. Now I'm looking for a free trip. Make it stop, George. I got to stop.
Brandon, can you send Ken to Vancouver? Can you make it happen?
Brandon, you're on the Ramsey Show. How's it going?
Hey, guys. Good. Thanks for taking my call today.
You bet.
So I'm fairly new. I've been about 3 weeks new to this whole Ramsey Show debt stuff to work on, and it came at a perfect time because I have a mountain of debt, and just wondering what the fastest way to pay it off would be. It's about a total of $850,000, and that's including mortgages.
Okay. Well, lay them out for me with the consumer debt first.
Okay, consumer debt first. So I've got $4,000 on an LOC. I've got a MasterCard with $24,000, a car with $21,000, a truck with $77,000, and then we've got my personal house, which has got a mortgage remaining of $550,000, and then a rental house with a remaining mortgage of $170,000, plus a HELOC on my personal house, which is about $190,000.
Holy
goodness! You've been collecting this stuff, man. What is your income?
And not too proud about it. My household income is about $160,000 to $170,000.
Okay. What is the truck for?
It's a vehicle that we bought. It's me and my wife. We have 5 children, and we wanted something to be able to pull a trailer to take our family on vacation.
Do you have an RV?
No, we actually pull my parents' 27-foot trailer to go camping up in the Okanagan.
Okay.
Well, it's time to buy some tents.
I think for now we vacation in our home because we are
in the
freaking
backyard.
broke. I think this truck needs to go. That's staring me down in a bad way. And because you can sell this stuff, I'd probably sell the truck and the car just to help clean some of this up to give you guys some breathing room. But what you do, here's what you do. Ignore the mortgage parts for now. Let's focus on this consumer debt and lay them out smallest to largest. That makes it palatable, right? If you go, how quickly can you pay off this $4K and LLC debt? A month?
We just wrote actually our thing up last night on our plan, and we're hoping to have that paid off by the end of August.
Okay, so end of August, we knock out the first debt. What's the next biggest debt? The credit cards? If we sell the car?
The car is 21, the MasterCard is 24.
Okay. Now, my personal plan, because I can't breathe right now, is to just sell these vehicles and just drive beaters for now, even if they're two $10,000 cars. We're not going on vacation. We're broke, so we can't afford that anyways. We're not towing any trailers anytime soon. What if we cleaned up the car debt? That alleviates $100,000 of this consumer debt. Now you just have credit cards in front of you for consumer debt. Then we're at the mortgages. You see how that just sped up that process?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Our truck, unfortunately, a month after we bought it, we actually got hit, and it's been now had to be fixed. It had about $20,000 in damage a month after we bought it. So I've thought about selling that, but from what I've heard from, I was talking with an insurance adjuster, they figure it's only worth, the price has dropped about 30 to 40% based on that accident of what we could get for it. So we'd still be left with like 20 to 25,000 remaining on that.
Even after you fix it up?
Well, it's already been fixed. We've had it for a little over a year now.
But it's depreciated the value because of the accident.
Exactly, yes.
Well, you said your income was how much? 140, 160?
160 to 170.
160, 170. Is there a way to increase that?
I'm already working overtime now. My wife's also starting to pick up some overtime to help bring that up as well.
Okay. Well, there's no easy shortcut way out of this, and there's no amount of debt you can move around to make this go away. The only way to make it go away is aggressively pay it off with the debt snowball, smallest to largest, increase the income, decrease the expenses, find as much margin as you can to throw at that smallest debt, and just work your way at this thing. And I'd probably sell the rental. What's the rental worth?
Absolutely.
Around 300,000.
So you could net about 100 plus to throw at the other debt?
Yeah, and that we used actually, I know this is terrible thinking on my part looking back now, but we used our home equity line of credit to purchase our rental house. And it had a slew of repairs to the extent of about $70,000 more than what we were expecting, and that's where we have our HELOC from.
Okay, but you can still sell the rental.
Yes.
That's a game changer. You have to do that. It gives you pretty big momentum to get this thing started. Now, there's still a lot of work to do, but that'll help.
And even being underwater on that truck, I'd probably sell the rental and use that to cover the underwater portion.
Yep.
Sell the car, get 2 beater cars. That at least cleans up a whole lot of this debt. That leaves you with the LLC, the credit cards, and then the HELOC, and then save the mortgage till the very end.
Okay.
What is the house worth?
My personal residence?
Yes.
About $1 million.
Okay. Now, I don't think you need to sell the house unless this mortgage payment is killing you guys. Is it a big part of your monthly take-home pay?
It's right around that quarter mark. It's about $2,500 a month.
Okay, and you're bringing in $10K.
Monthly is approximately 10. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't think the mortgage was the problem, and I would just save that to the very end. I'm not a huge fan of just using that as the first shortcut to just sell the house to get out of this thing. I want to see some behavior change. Otherwise, you're going to be right back in this mess a year from now. And that means the sacrifices of paying off the truck that we use for the family vacations and the car, and we've got to stop looking for shortcuts. And I feel like you're ready for that.
Yeah.
Is your spouse on board as well?
At first it was tough. Like, I've been listening to your guys' podcast religiously for the last 3 weeks. And she's not quite on board, but she's definitely more on board now that we've kind of put it out on paper, kind of a plan on what I was planning on doing. But I figured to call you guys. I think she'll be able to come on board with it. It might be a little bit of a struggle, but
if you just
good conversations.
Show her these numbers on paper, show her the interest, show her how long it's going to take to crawl out of this thing, she's going to be willing to sell some stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't breathe looking at this stuff, man. I'm pulling for you to get out of this thing. Call us back if we can help in any way.
Can you imagine just looking at the budget once all those things are paid off that we just talked about by the one per sale of the house? That's a game changer, and that'll get somebody on board. Show
100%.
them real numbers. Good hour, George. You're going to need a massage after walking through that
100%.
last call. Maybe a chiropractor. I don't know. Big thanks to Kelly Daniel for keeping it on the tracks and the crew in there with her, and then also you, America. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's Ken. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.